Hello techies. Welcome to our brand new video series focused on helping you get the most of your experiences in life. Before we start the video, let's know about Upptalk. Upptalk is a live, interactive platform for software training, furnishing robust personalities who could take on universal business platforms.
I used to work with them. I left them and joined them again, but they gave me a whole new set of records that did not preserve my original employee history at all. I was given a new employee ID. I was given a new email ID, and everything was new. Although I joined them only after 3 years. But everything was new. So it differs depending on the capability of their HCM system and how they want to do it. But typically it is very common to have the previous employment record retained. Next. Okay. So now the probation period. The probation period can also be configured to monitor workers and to comply with local regulations and policies. So what is the probation period? Anyone has any idea about a probation period? I don't really can explain in a proper definition, but yeah, the period when you're trained, the period when you are on a training, like if I join an organization, I may have the first 3 months as my probation. Okay. So what happens in the probation? Your work is monitored, right? You are evaluated. You are evaluated at the end of the probation period. That okay. We train this person for, let's say, 3 months. So is this person now good enough to continue working? So what happens at the end of the probation period? After, let's say, 3 months, we will be conforming services. Does it happen always? No, it depends on employee performance. There will be conforming or else there might be different steps. Extension, probation failure, probation configuration. Absolutely. So at the end of that duration, let's say 3 months, then it can be 3 months, it can be 6 months. 1 year depends on the industry, depends on the company, a lot of factors. But let's say, at the end of the probation period, the manager or the competent authority will evaluate. Okay. Does this person satisfy all the conditions to become a full-time employee? If yes, then okay. In the probation period, and worker is hired. Otherwise, what happens is they may want to extend the probation period. Like, okay, this worker is doing good, but I think some more probation would be handy. So they will extend the probation period by a month or so. And if they feel that no, this worker is absolutely not what we thought him or her to be, so we should rather let them go. So then, they can be put on a performance improvement plan, or they might just be terminated. So, although it is very common for us to see that, yeah, probation is only for new hires, but it is not always the case. Probation can be for promoted workers or transferred workers as well. Were you aware of that? Anybody who was aware of that? So in my organization we have a separate step for that. We call it as a government. Okay. But anyway, after the promotion the worker is also monitored for performance, right? Is that what they do in your organization? Yeah. So let's say you are a very good developer. You are a very good developer. You do all your work correctly, and so on. And then you are promoted as a manager, right? You are promoted, so you are all very happy. You got an increment, salary increment, and very happy. But as a manager, you're not doing well. All developers don't become good managers, right? Because a manager needs to have some different kinds of personality traits. They need some different way of working. A developer is very hands-on. That person goes into the system, does everything on his or her own right. Tries out different things and gives solutions. A manager, on the other hand, is a different person. That person needs to get the work done by other workers. And maybe a good developer is not a good manager, right? It may happen. Although in IT organizations they promote the worker as a manager, and then nothing right. They let them be. So a lot of people end up being very micromanagers. They micromanage everything. And they end up being a bad manager. But in some organizations, even for promoted or transferred workers, they have a probation period where they monitor the performance of this promoted or the transferred worker. Okay. And if they do not meet the criteria or if they are not working effectively, they are put on a performance improvement plan or a PIP. The most dreaded word in the corporate world, right? PIP. If somebody is on a PIP, then what happens? What is the who is placed on a PIP? People who are at the bottom, who are not performing well, right? Who are not performing well. So they are put on a performance improvement plan because the company wants to give them another chance. That maybe there were some factors which affected their performance, right? Maybe the bad manager, bad kind of work, bad timings, right? So they try to change some of these parameters and see if the worker is really bad or was it some factor that was affecting this worker's performance. Okay. But they give them a chance, a lifeline kind of thing. Okay, for 3 months we are going to give you in a different project, different type of work, and see if we can still keep you okay. And what happens at the end of the PIP? Again, there is an evaluation, right? That okay. Did the worker perform well in the PIP, or shall we let them go? Isn't it? Right, this happens, right? So yeah, this is also very, very common in organizations. PIPs are also very, very common. So probation periods can be configured in Workday, and you can also, after the end of probation period, you can also put the workers in a performance improvement plan. But why is this probation period important? Because we may include that as part of our hire process. So from the hire date, you can define the probation period. Okay, 3 months from the hire date, that is your probation period. So probation period can be included as part of the hire process as well. Alright, let's do a quick quiz. A worker can only be hired into which type of organization? Supervisory. Supervisory. True or false? It is false, I guess. True or false? I think it was false. Yeah, higher reason is not a required field. Right, Higher reason is not a required. It will give you a warning. You may have seen that orange color warning comes up. Orange or yellow. I always get confused with the color. Anyway, that alert comes up and says you have not filled in the higher reason, right? But it won't stop you. If you click on OK again, or if you click on Submit again, it still lets you proceed, right? So higher reason is not a required field. So this answer is false? Okay, but it is recommended that you fill up the higher reason. Okay, this question we have not discussed, but I will just let you attempt it. When hiring into a position, if there are position restrictions, they will default in and cannot be changed. Is this true or false? False. False.
Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us at sales@uptalk.com.